Okay, what's up, guys? I'm gonna be doing another analysis of a game. This time we're gonna have SK versus Sypher from IEM New York. Uh, I don't remember watching this game live, so I'm just gonna go kind of through it. I just looked and saw what the hero lineups are gonna be, and I thought it'd be an interesting game to go over because it involves a not so common lineup. So we're gonna see SK do something that's unique to them, and we're gonna see how they pull it off. Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and start it, and we'll go through picks and bait. Okay, so Nocturne coming out, first ban. Strong jungler, why not ban him? Snoopy, I know he plays a lot of Nocturne apparently. You see him use it a lot in tournaments, so it's more of a target ban at him. They probably don't want to deal with it, so nothing wrong banning Nocturne. We'll see who SK come out with. They come out with Urgot ban. I know at this point, Urgot had become really popular in the European metagame, and given that these are two European teams, they're probably like, hey, we don't want to deal with Urgot because still relatively new. Hasn't been used a lot, and a lot of people started figuring out kind of how strong he was. So SK don't want to deal with it. I think they banned him like the whole tournament. They even said we're banning Urgot for the whole tournament because we don't want to deal with him. So that's just them banning out Urgot. Aurelia ban coming down. Wicked. Aurelia. Standard. Janna ban coming out. They probably, if you ban a support like that, then there's something specific you don't want that support doing. And or Sypher has a full-time Janna player. Talon ban coming out. They probably don't want Wicked on Talon either. Talon's super strong. And then Cassiopeia ban coming out for SK. Cassiopeia, really strong mid laner, really popular in Europe. Yeah, so that's just a strong ban. And Sypher immediately locked first pick Morgana. This is before her sustainability nerfs and her slight skill tone down, so she's still really strong in this patch. And then SK come out showing Kog'Maw as their range pick first. Kog'Maw, one of the strongest range AD carries in the game. SK, I think Ocelothe even came out and said, you know, if Kog'Maw's not banned, we're getting him because after level 6, he's just retarded. So they really like their Kog'Maw. They're going to be picking him. They're going to have Taric, which is kind of an aggressive support hero, to go with him. So they're going to be looking to be really strong in their lane. Taric will help out a lot with his stun. So SK picking their bottom lane first. Since you get that double pick, you can kind of just pick and choose whatever AD and support you want, and they're taking advantage of that. Now, Sypher come out with an early Nasus pick. I don't like early Nasus because there's a lot of stuff that can shut him down. Like, for instance, Akali isn't banned and is available, and Akali can destroy a Nasus. He does really poorly against energy heroes and against heroes that don't have mana pools that can spam abilities on him. Things like a Katarina can shut him down really hard. Okay, they don't pick him. I was about to say, you're gonna get shut down if you pick Nasus too early. Things like Cat can shut him down. Let me pause it. Just a brief little note about Nasus. Things like Katarina, her blade reduces the healing. Also, you can just spam it. Nasus has a really hard time against that. Akali sits there and pokes, just dives in and out of her pool, throws up her Q. Her level 1 damage is also really strong against Nasus. Kennen, another one of the energy champions that just kind of spams him down, and those are really, really hard for him to live through. So if you pick him too early, then he can get hard counter-picked and taken out of the game quite fast. So if you're going to pick Nasus, you better make sure that they have their top lane. If you see a top lane that he can sustain against, like if they have a Cho'Gath coming out early, he can sustain against that. Any really tanky sustain champion he can hold up against, because unless you're farming your Q up, which you can't do against one of those high energy aggressive heroes, then you're going to have a really hard time in your lane, and you probably won't get going in the game at all. So instead they pick up their bottom lane heroes. They're going with Sona and Tristana. Two good picks. Sona, probably, I would say she is the best support just because she's so versatile. Her W, the 40% reduction, power chord is so strong. The speed boost you get to your whole team strong. The fact that you can sustain with W so strong. Just so many buffs you can throw out, and you can spam quite a lot. She has a slow. She's really good for burst at low levels. She's just so useful for the entire game. Also, apart from Janna, she probably has the strongest ultimate out of all the supports. And then Tristana, just really good late game DPS. Good pick. So going back into it, let's see what SK decides to go with. Get their next two picks. This will probably, with SK, this will give them their fourth hero, so we'll really see kind of what they're gonna try and do in the game. Still don't know too, like Sypher showing two AoE champions and a Tristana, so they're likely to be picking up more AoE champions, because showing an early Morgana and then using your Sona instead of something like a more sustain heavy champion, well, not more sustain heavy, but something like a Soraka wouldn't be as indicative of an AoE lineup. And SK come out with Gangplank, and they come out with Anivia. Now, Anivia is not a common champion at high level, and I know that Ocelote is probably the only person who will play Anivia at high level, so I really want to see how that turns out. I personally haven't played Anivia but maybe twice since beta, so I don't know how he stands now. I never see him picked. I've only used him once, and he's still pretty good, so I want to see how he turns out in the pro lineup. And Gangplank, as always, is one of the strongest junglers. His ultimate is just so good at controlling space. It's so large that it takes up, just like you put it in the middle of the river and it'll take up the entire middle of the river near Dragon, or it takes up the entire lane. It's just so strong, and it's global. Gangplank is just a very strong hero to have. So, all right, okay, so Nasus is picked now. Okay, I can. So they do end up getting the Nasus because they see, oh, I didn't pause. Oh well. I'll talk about that later. The Nasus did get picked up. They saw no real threat to shutting down a Nasus. You can send a mid lane against Anivia if you absolutely have to. Seeing that they did see that SK showed that, you know, hey, we're not running something like Kennen and mid and then Akali top. So they went ahead and picked up their Nasus pick. He's safe to do. And then they also went with Fiddlesticks for their jungle, which is, I really want to see how that turns out. Fiddle you don't see as much either. He kind of made a comeback at last IEM. You saw Chinese teams running him a lot with some interesting jungle patterns too, I might add. They had him starting like Golem and doing double golems and doing some really fast jungle, and popped out at odd timings. It caught a lot of the European teams in off guard. Just really cool to see what their take on Fiddlesticks was. So interesting to see what Sypher does with Fiddle. He's really good at counter jungling, but Gangplank is not really a champion that can get counter jungled as hard as, like, say, an Amumu could or something. So we'll see how Fiddle fares in the jungle against Gangplank. And given the fact that they have Morgana and Sona, his ultimate's going to queue up really well with them. Just throw down Sona ultimate, have Fiddle go in and Morgana go in with their ultimates. It's going to lock people down really well. It's going to allow Tristana to sit there and wail on people. The only thing I don't know that I like is that Nasus, he doesn't exactly fit into that, because when you have a Nasus, he's so beefy that he wants to be like in front as a bruiser, tanking that damage for Tristana to wail away on people. And when you have all those AoE disables with Morgana and Sona and Fiddle going in dealing all the AoE damage, then Nasus's role is kind of lost. I know he does have his little AoE, but I guess his ulti could, help as well, but I don't know how I like it. might have wanted to see something like Kennen run top instead. I think Kennen would have fit in with this lineup a lot better, because SK already showed their Anivia, right? So there's their mid AP champion. Now they haven't seen this Galio yet, so we'll ignore that. But if they go with Kennen, well, SK's already banned out Janna, so there goes one of your options for knockback, which leaves Gragas. I mean, they've already locked in Gangplank, so you're not going to be getting a Lee Sin to dive in and kick him away. So they'd be forcing a Gragas on him. So why they decided to use Nasus, I don't know. I really think Kennen would have been a much stronger choice here. I guess they're thinking, oh, guys, we need a tank. But not really. You don't actually need a tank. Morgana's really... You can build Morgana super tanky. She's a pretty beefy caster. You can even build Fiddle kind of tanky. Tristana has great escape. Kennen, also pretty tanky, but not as tanky as Nasus is. I mean, they're trying. It looks like they're trying to adhere too much to the tankiness. I don't know. They could have picked up Galio. They see Bird out already, so he's mega AP. I mean, I just don't know. I don't think I like the Nasus pick. There's other choices that could have worked out a lot better for them than Nasus. He just doesn't fit them showing Fiddle, Morgana, Sona, and then Nasus. So SK are probably really relieved to see that they get a Galio in this comp, because if you throw down your Galio ult and then you throw up Gangplank ult and then Anivia puts her ult down, then everything is just so slowed, can't move at all, and Galio's ult will keep them trapped. You can also use the wall to even further prevent their running away. You can even put walls up to have your Kog'Maw stand behind, so you can like wall off a ramp and have Kog'Maw stand on the other side of the ramp, and they can't go touch him. So you can either use it to like wall him in, wall opponents off. They're gonna have a lot of control over the lane, what with Gangplank ult and Anivia W for her wall. But you know, Fiddlesticks can kind of blink over it. Tristana can jump over it. The other three champions are running flash, so they can always get over it if they absolutely need to. But I kind of don't like Sypher's picks. This Nasus bothers me. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into the. Okay, so I had a tiny problem with the recording, so I'm just gonna start it over right here. I got a quick sneak peek about what's going to happen, so I'll just kind of go over it now. I'll let this countdown timer start, and I'll explain it. So, if you look at these picks, and you've ever played Anivia, especially against a Morgana, you know that you will get kind of face rolled. Morgana does really well against Anivia. Black Shield can keep her from getting slowed and from stunned, so Anivia can't be putting much pressure on her at all. And Anivia has enough, or Morgana has enough area of effect damage to really push Anivia to the tower quite hard and quite easily. So we're going to see SK come up with kind of a cool solution to this problem. Mainly what I'll be looking at is how SK decides to lane and how it ends up affecting the game. What they do is really smart. Just simple things of moving people around can create quite a headache for a team who thinks that they're going to be doing okay in the lane phase. Yeah. I'll be pointing out a couple things like items and whatnot, but mainly the focus of this is we're going to be looking at the lanes, because what SK does is pretty ingenious. Blah, 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 loading up. My God, those computers are nice. That was fast. Wouldn't that be great if all of our games started that quickly? Everybody was on amazing computers and it only took 5 seconds, but no. You always get that one douchebag who's running on his computer that has Windows 98 on it, and it takes 5 minutes to get into the game. So, SK sending Anivia mid, as expected. Anivia likes being mid. Nice and close to that blue buff. Easy to give it to him. But what you're seeing is, well, first of all, SK's they're playing really smart. They have a hero at every river entrance. Tark's up in Tribush, Kog'Maw's watching the Wraith Pit, Gangplank's down at the middle bottom entrance, and then Anivia's by the blue entrance. So they have great vision of the river. They don't want Sypher invading, doing some kind of huge level 1 team fight type deal. So SK is going to see anything coming. But what you see is that Tark and Kog'Maw are not the ones watching bottom. They are the ones watching top. You're going to be seeing Kog'Maw and Tark go top lane. Now, normally in a traditional setup, in a standard setup, if you ever play ranked games or even just, games where people kind of adhere to the metagame, you'll always see the range AD support bottom. That's done because, the Dragon Pit right there, it allows you to rotate your 4 champions to it quite easily with the jungle mid, range AD bottom, and you run a teleport top and allow your top lane to teleport in. And that's basically how most of the games are set up. So SK know that they have a problem with that Morgana being mid, and they know Morgana is going to be doing some pain if Morgana's mid. So what they're going to do is they're going to send their Kog'Maw and their Tark to top lane, and Kog'Maw and Tark will push this Nasus out with ease. Nasus can't hold against it. His sustain requires him to be up near the creep to sustain, and Tark can just stun and Kog'Maw will go to town on him, and he'll stand absolutely no chance. So they have to send Morgana up top. Morgana can use her Black Shield to kind of avoid that stun a lot better than Nasus can. She has an AoE that Nasus can't really afford to get early on because he needs to be leveling that Q up. So she can both sustain with her AoE and keep the creep off her tower, as well as shield that stun, so she'll be okay. So SK force Morgana out of mid lane so that Anivia has a chance. Anivia would stand no chance against Morgana and just get bullied, and the tower would be under pressure already. So that leaves Galio bottom, and he will have a hard time against that setup. Galio is gonna struggle. You see, this is the beauty of Gangplank and Anivia. Anivia, it's kind of hard to land her Q if it's just one hero kind of running around. But with Gangplank, you just put your parlay on him, and that applies the slow effect, which allows Anivia to just easily throw up her E. And since the E scales based off of whether a target's slowed or not, it makes it really easy for Gangplank to jump out of the bush, throw a parlay up, throw an E up, and that's a lot of burst damage. See top lane going on to Morgana. She's got her Black Shield up. She does get killed. And SK get first blood out of it. So they're really pressuring that Morgana. But at the same time, Galio dies as well. So the teams basically trade even at about the exact same time. But SK did get first blood out of that to their Gangplank. You see, mid lane, Anivia is doing a lot better than Anivia would do against some Morgana. And Anivia is a really hard-hitting caster. Out of all the AP mid champions, Anivia's damage output is just insane. And couple that with the fact that she has slows and stuns as well, it gets pretty scary in game when Anivia's AP gets up around the 500 range or something crazy like that. So now SK, this top lane, they have Morgana killed already once. Sypher have Galio killed once, so it's kind of even. I wouldn't say mid lane is winning or losing. They're kind of trading even, which is what SK wanted. They wanted their Anivia to be able to get into the game. Now this Fiddlesticks, this is his first time moving out for a gank. I haven't seen him go out yet for a gank. Well, he did. I guess he did go help Galio, so this will be his second attempt. So they see him playing thwarted, gonna eat some crows, and he flashes. So not a big deal that he flashed. But SK, once again, are allowed to kind of manipulate the lanes and make Sypher uncomfortable. Now, one thing about Fiddlesticks, once he does get to that level 5 range as a jungle, he is one of the jungles that can kind of ninja a dragon on you. He is able to do it. If he has blue buff and red buff, well, not so much red buff. I think you just need blue buff. You can actually just mass life drain the dragon, and you can get drain the dragon. Sorry, you can actually just do that and get the dragon kill. And he's one of I think he's the only jungler that can legitimately do it at level 5. So you're gonna have to be a little bit wary of that. So as far as starting items went, you see for SK, Taric, standard support build, Fairy Charm, Sight Wards, Potions, Nivea, Boots, Potions. You need that as a Nivea. Nivea takes quite a bit of damage early on, so running her without potions is extremely difficult to do. I wouldn't recommend ever not running potions early on a Nivea. Kog'Maw went Doran's Blade. He has Taric for sustain, and they're 2-on-1, so Doran's Blade is a good item to get. Gangplank, just standard Madreds into Lantern. Galio, Boots, Potions. Tristana going Doran Blade, like same type deal there. Has the sustain hero with him, so he's fine. Sona started Boots, actually. I don't know why Sona started Boots. That's usually only something you would do when you're roaming. That kind of, I don't exactly know what they were thinking there, but Sona did get Boots first. It's never something I've done, but if it works for him, then so be it. But I prefer that you get one of the Phylostone items first. Then Fiddle went Doran's Ring, Boots, and another Doran's Ring. Usual Fiddle stuff. Nasus, quick Phylostone, pretty standard. And Morgana, Boots, Doran's Rings, also standard. So, only thing unusual there is the Sona not running the standard Phylostone first setup. So, what just happened there was that Sypher put a bunch of pressure onto that blue, and because of that, they couldn't afford to let Ocelote try and get the last hit, and it forced Snoop A into smiting it. So now instead of Anivia having that blue buff mid against a Nasus, Snoop A has it. So Anivia is not going to be able to just spam away and start causing havoc everywhere, because Anivia with blue buff is probably the scariest AP caster to have blue buff. That ultimate cooldown just comes right back up, and you can leave it on. Just straight up leave it on, and you don't run out of mana. So as far as laning right now, SK are grouping up mid. This probably will lead to them wanting to do a dragon. Sona coming out with an aggressive ulti on Wicked there. I don't know that I like that. You would think that they would want to save that. Yeah, SK is like, okay, no Sona ultimate. Let's go ahead and start getting into position. Usually with Sona at level 6, you either want to make sure that there was probably some sort of miscommunication there. He probably wanted Tristana to go in, because using your ultimate like that, it's a really long cooldown. I think it's like 140 seconds just at level 6. So that's a pretty significant cooldown length. So they're vulnerable to not being able to use it in like a dragon fight coming up now. See Tristana getting really aggressive with jump flash, getting that kill. So Sypher are doing a little bit better of pushing their side lane around. Morgana is kind of sustaining up top. She did get the blue buff, so she's going to be absolutely fine for now. Whereas Ocelote didn't get his blue buff, so you can see Morgana kind of gets down towards half mana, but she's already almost up to max again, and Ocelote is below half. So he will be fighting really hard to keep this lane, because he can't hold mid on auto attacks alone with a Nasus one-shotting creep almost at this point. Ocelote is going to have to be using a lot of mana to hold his lane, and without blue he's not going to be able to stay in lane for very long. So Taric has left Candy Panda up top by himself. He's okay against Morgana. I don't think Morgana can kill him. So they're like, alright, well, we're going to go help other people out now. So they're leaving him to his own devices, and now Taric's kind of in roaming mode. While Anivia goes back, Snoopy watches the lane. Pretty standard. But you're about to see, coming up soon, why these lanes are going to be a problem for Sypher. So all this is going in mid. Nasus gets ganked by Snoopy and Nif, right? So the problem with that is Nasus is running teleport, but he's the one in middle. So if you're in middle with teleport, then there's nowhere you can really teleport to. Normally you'd want teleport on one of the side lanes because you're so far away that the need to jump, the utility of being able to jump across the map is really important. So Nasus is kind of, he's one-dimensional in his summoner spells right now. Teleport's not going to come into play until a lot later, like when they're level 14 and they're on their third dragon and they're letting somebody go farm a side lane. Then it'll come into play. But now, not really how they're wanting it to go, because Morgana's stuck way up top. Look, she's spent this whole time running through river. They wanted to come middle, so Sona was headed middle, right? And Morgana had to head middle. Well, they're roughly in the same spot, coming from either side. So Morgana had to make this trek all the way from top. She doesn't want to be top. She wants to be middle. But she can't do that because Nasus will get shoved out of lane by this Kog'Maw and they'll lose the tower. And also, they can't really push the tower on Nasus, so they're forced into this by SK. So Morgana's having to run all the way down. Now, if Nasus had been top, he could have just teleported in onto the Morgana, and they would have been fine. They would have had, you know, Fiddle ult go down, Morgana ult go down, and Nasus teleport in to help clean up. But now, Morgana is having to run all the way in, and Nasus died while she was making the trek. So this is the point where you'll start to see SK's lane decisions really kick in. It's kind of ingenious what they do. So Morgana comes in and misses, and I don't like what she does here. I really don't. Why would you waste that ultimate? So SK are able to do what Sypher wanted to do. Galio side lane with teleport. He teleports in, and now they have a huge advantage. I don't even know that he needed to teleport in here. It's kind of unnecessary. I mean, they see Tristana down here, and they know Nasus is dead. And they see Sona here. They see Morgana here, and they know Fiddle's dead. So I don't know that I like him using teleport. He might as well, though, because his tower is already dead. He's not going to do anything to Tristana, so he might as well come in. So then again, I kind of do like him teleporting here. So SK is getting to do what Sypher wanted to do. So now Sypher's in a bit of a bad position. They're down 2 champions, and they're possibly going to lose more. Snoopy being a little ballsy, being out right here. So Morgana, she goes down. Snoopy actually gets picked off by a Sona. How embarrassing. It cost Sona an ultimate, but still. So in this exchange, oh wait, Sona, you get to see Sona die. Or do you? No, what happened? Oh my god, no. No, I think I clicked on the video instead of, damn it. Damn it, damn it. Okay, so this is where Sona dies. So Sona dead. Okay, now I'll hit the pause button. So they lost Gangplank. Okay, well, what did Sypher lose? Sypher lost blue buff, Morgana ult. They lost Nasus, Fiddle ult, Fiddle flash, Sona ult, Sona flash. And the only thing they got out of it was Gangplank and allowed Tristana to farm. That's not good, and it's all a product of SK's crazy laning. So now SK, well, they might be in a little trouble here because they're all low. And they all have low mana. So you're going to see Anivia have to go back, and Tark will likely have to fall back as well. And Galio's really the only one left with mana. Gangplank's ulti's not up, so Sypher are going to do the smart thing. They're like, hey, you guys can't contest this. So they're going to go run and take Dragon. This is the only vulnerable part of winning a huge team fight like that is SK. They chased a lot of champions around. They got a bunch of kills, but in doing all that chasing and fighting, you're going to be low on HP and mana, so you have to go back and heal. And since Morgana and Sona were chased around long enough, it gave time for Sypher to respawn, and they respawn with full HP mana, and that allows them basically to just go take Dragon because they have full HP mana. Now, I don't like Gangplank poking out there. The CV went down. They had no vision. He had no business face checking that bush. That was bad on his part. Now, Galio's in panic mode. He has to waste his ultimate. Nasus burns his, but that's okay. So SK kind of fucked up there. They got a huge little advantage with their nice 4-for-1 trade and getting a blue buff as well. But they kind of threw their advantage back away there. They took the lead and they kind of just gave it back to Sypher. So now Sypher's back in it now. I'd put them in a slight edge. But Kog'Maw farming top, that's good. So this is a point where we can take a look at the items, see what they're doing, see where they want to go with their items. Okay, we'll start with SK. Tark, just standard support shit, whatever. Anivia, looks like she's going for the Rod of Ages. Pretty good. Kog'Maw has 2 Dorans and the life-stealing scythe. Going for Bloodthirster, I would assume. Love Bloodthirster. Fast Bloodthirster, really strong. Not only does it add damage and sustain, but it also farms itself, so it just keeps it's an item that keeps growing, and if you get it early and get your stacks on it early, especially as Kog'Maw, since he's able to stand so far back, you can kind of farm the item up and keep it farmed. The only bad part is if you go for it first and then you get ganked, the item descales quite harshly compared to other items. Losing that 40 stack it's painful. But if you do farm it up early, the damage that the item scales insanely fast. So I like the Fast Bloodthirster. Adds great sustain, good damage. I prefer that item first on AD carries. And then Gangplank has a Giant's Belt. That can be a lot of things. Most likely Warmogs. If he's already got Lantern and he's going straight for the belt, he might be going straight Warmogs. And then Galio has Boots and Catalyst. Don't know what he's going to do with that yet. Could be a couple things. On the other side, Sypher, Tristana. I don't like what Tristana's doing. I don't like it. 3 Dorans, Blades, Pickaxe, and the Crit Cloak. That's a no-no in my book. I don't like that. I'd rather see one of those Dorans Blades cut so that he could buy a BF sword. So that he would have attack speed boots, BF sword, and 2 Dorans Blade. I don't like, when you're going for the fast eye edge, I don't like Pickaxe Crit Cloak. That's a no-no. I don't like it. It's too much money sunk into stats that... first of all, getting the 3 Doran Blade. They did show aggression with it, but not with Tristana. Tristana the whole time was down bot farming, which is smart for an AD carry, range AD. It's good that you're down farming, but getting 3 Doran's Blades and then going to farm... I said it in the first video, if you're stacking Doran's Blades, it's because you want to team fight and dump your money into damage and HP and whatnot so that you can do the most now. But what Tristana did was a big no-no, and you're seeing it reflected in the other 2 items she's bought. She got the boots and 3 Doran's Blades and then just went to farm. If you're going to go just farm, then you're not in need of extra damage. You're just last hitting. and you don't need the HP because you're just, you're down farming. You're not part of the team fight, so the extra survivability is not helping you. Going up to 2 Doran Blade it's okay, but getting the third, that's another 450 gold. That could have been put towards the BF sword instead of that pickaxe. And then she probably went back again and was like, well, I have 800 gold, might as well buy the crit cloak because I need it. Well, now her items are kind of way spread out and she's not getting enough out of her money. If that would have been BF sword and crit cloak right there instead of pickaxe, Dorn, and the crit cloak, then she would have been kicking out more damage. So her item choice and order of item picking I don't like, and you'll see it come back to bite her. Sona, standard. Fiddle, low on items. My god, all he has is Boots of Lucidity and 2 Dorans. Low creep kill. That's the problem with Fiddle. If you're not really aggressive with him and getting all the, like, a lot of assists racked up early, or doing something to get money, Fiddle falls off really hard, really fast. Especially for a jungle. He's not going to be that scary gangplank that can get like an Atmogs and start destroying people. He needs the involvement. And like I said, the Nasus pick really going to start hurting him because people like Fiddle can't get in there and his ulti will go down, but Nasus can just kind of hit one thing and then he's kind of just going to be able to sit there for another 4 seconds and wait for his Q to come back up. Something like Kennen would have helped Fiddle jump in and burst people down, but they're not going to be able to pick up as many kills. You saw it earlier in mid when Nasus and Fiddle died. Fiddle jumped in with his ultimate and he's all happy, smiles, flash ulti, but Nasus can't hold people in place. He can't throw out that massive AoE burst damage. He can just kind of put it on one target, but Nasus is there to soak up damage. So Fiddle is going to kind of fall out of this game. And now we have SK converging mid. Candy Panda up top farming. He's just going to chill here, wait to see if it's okay. He might even be going back now. Yep, he's going back. So Anivia, I think she just got blue. Maybe not. I think she did just get blue though. So Anivia will have blue, and now they're just kind of, both teams are in this mode where they want to just sit back. There's no objective to do on the map, so it's don't get caught time. Now you see Nasus finally where he wants to be, up top with teleport. Finally, it took until 15 minutes for that to take effect. And the funny part is, these two teams are dead even. Like, dead even. SK's got one more kill than them, big whoop, but the gold is basically the same. So, at this point in the game, it's just kind of, there's nothing going on. Both teams are even. Neither team wants to get caught. You saw Morgana get sort of caught there, but instantly flashed over. Doesn't want to die. Doesn't want to give SK anywhere to wiggle their way in. They are forcing this tower down just because Morgana did get caught and lost half her HP. But other than that, it's basically just a flat, even game right now, which is it's kind of funny how that works. Sypher in a really weird spot with the massive lane switching craziness by SK, and it kind of worked itself out. So now both teams are kind of even, and you're going to see the items make the difference. The items are going to make the difference. You see SK side, their items are healthier. Yep, Gangplank is going for that fast Warmogs. So Gangplank is going for a fast Warmogs. It's a really, really strong endgame item that scales really well. Kog'Maw's going for that Bloodthirster that's a late game item that scales really well. Look, Kog'Maw's he's being so smart. Look, he's not even finishing his Bloodthirster. He's like, you know what? Fuck Bloodthirster, I need this magic res. So he picks up a null magic cloak, which is going to help a lot. That'll keep Morgana off him. That'll keep Fiddle off of him. because he's not going to be taking any damage. Tristan is not going to jump over the whole team to go kill Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw is only going to take incidental damage from all of the AP that's there. So that's really smart by Kog'Maw to pick up that null magic cloak. So, like I said, they're just kind of in the side lanes, just being cautious, poking and prodding, but they're not going to commit too hard to anything. Neither team wants to get caught out here because somebody can go and ninja a Baron right now if somebody steps too far out of line. Kind of weird that Sypher has two heroes that need farm up top at the same time, but whatever. La da 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 da. So at this point, Dragon should be coming back up soon. So Sypher goes back and buys now because they know Dragon's coming up. They're trying to buy before the fact. But SK are already kind of in position. They're already set up. I think Anivia wanted to buy there, but she can't now. So this is the point where the teams are finally ready to fight. So all four, or just four of SK are here. Gangplank coming in. He has his ulti, so he could have thrown it out early. Also the beauty of Gangplank. Gangplank is, his ultimate is just so awesome. Always nice to have Gangplank ultimate on your team. Since it's global, it means he's basically part of any team fight anywhere when it's up, which is something that's really important in League of Legends. So the cool thing about being on SK's side, their blue should actually be coming up soon too. Yep, blue's up. So the cool thing about having blue on this side of the map is that it's right next to Dragon. So you can take it, and then Dragon is literally a 7-second walk down. Even just like 5 seconds. It's right there. So you can grab blue, and you can be right there, and just go straight to Dragon with it. And you don't have to stray far from your team. The bottom side, however, it's on the other side of the map. On the other side of the map. So their blues just have to kind of chill over there for now. Now Nasus, once again, finally 20 minutes in. Now he can use his teleport the way he wants to. So you'll see him teleport in. Now it's, 5v5. But I don't know if I like teleport there. Sypher aren't really committing, and SK wasn't really committing. That ward is too far away. It's there, but it's too far away. Nasus should have just stayed and kept farming. So here comes team fight. Some things about the positioning. Sypher, they all dove into Dragon Pit. SK ran out, but Gangplank got stuck over here. So Gangplank's on this side, and the rest of SK's on this side. Some things about positioning. What I can say that's bad about this is that Ocelot was able to pick off Tristana. So Tristana is up in front. Tristana is the front of Sypher, not what you want from your range AD. Out in the front, now you're exposed to taking hits. Nasus kind of already took some burst from Anivia, so he's down at half. None of SK is missing any HP. I think Gangplank's missing like 10-15%. But Skyheart took some damage. Now, Fiddle's down in the pit doing Dragon. And the rest of Sypher are here, but they're in between SK. The only problem is that Gangplank ultimate. So, with Gangplank ultimate, he's going to put it right here. It's going to be somewhere like right here where Sypher is, so that it's in between Dragon and them. So what they're going to do is have to make a decision of, do we want to run through the ultimate towards Dragon, or do we want to run away and give away Dragon? Well, they don't want to give away Dragon. So what that means is that they have to run into SK. SK are going to greet them with open arms. They're saying, yes, run into us, please. They have Galio, they have Anivia. They want open arms. They're ready. Their freaking Kog'Maw is going to be just in the back with a huge banana grin on his face, man. He's going to be like, yes, come fight us. So when the ulti goes down, if they choose to run in towards Dragon, they're running to SK. So Galio will be like, yes, he'll ulti, and that'll be the end of Sypher. That'll be the end of Sypher. Sypher really want the Dragon, and SK know it, so they're like, okay, come get it. So kind of dancing back and forth here, dancing back and forth. SK move up. They're at Dragon. Here goes the ultimate. There it is. There's Galio ultimate. Sypher takes the bait. And Sypher gets destroyed. This Kog'Maw, look at Kog'Maw, just right behind his tanky heroes, going to town on people. So SK pick up 3 kills there. Pick up 3 kills. 3 kills. Now, Sypher, the good thing about that is they did get you. Oh, Taric. Oh, did you see that heal? Taric, you sexy bitch. That Nif, that was. Man, that was nice. Saved the Nivea. But that was actually sort of. It was an trade. Sypher lost 3 champions. SK only lost 1. Sypher got Dragon. I want to say that's better for SK, but it wasn't horrible for Sypher. It could have been worse. They could have lost all 5. I'll give them that. They could have lost all 5. Losing 3 was that was probably the best thing that could have happened there, because they totally fell for SK's bait. They walked right into it. Losing only 3, I think that's okay. I think it's okay. Not great, but it could have been better. It could have been worse. So SK are actually going to feel like they're in the lead now. They're like, yes, that was good. We bullied them around. They know they can bully Sypher around now. If anything, that told them that, hey, we're wearing the daddy pants. Let's go. So now the primary target will be warding the Baron. Warding Baron. Warding Baron. That's the only objective left on the map. All the blues are gone. The reds. Kog'Maw's about to take it. So there will be nothing to fight for on the map except towers. Now Nasus up top farming. Why? Because he has teleport, even though it's not up. Don't tell him. Gangplank up top farming because he has his ultimate. So if you at a late game stage like this, if you're going to be far away from the objectives like a tower or a Dragon Baron, then you need to make sure that you have some way to be a part of a team fight. Because if you're caught 4v5 against a team that has like if the other team is sticking all 5 together and you have somebody wander off, you got to be really careful, because it can turn into a 5v4 real quick. And if your other teammate doesn't have any way to be a part of the team fight, well, then you're just straight up down a player, which usually means you'll lose if the game's somewhat even. And right now it's pretty damn even. I mean, only 2k gold apart, that's not really a big deal. If somebody gets caught out of position, like let's just say Taric goes and face checks a bush to kill a ward and they kill him, well, that's Oracle gone and that's Taric gone. So they don't have their support with them. So they're missing a stun, they're missing a mini heal, they're missing that aura, they're missing a Taric ultimate. So that's pretty devastating. So I don't look at 2k gold as that big of an advantage. At this point, it's still anybody's game. The dragon fights haven't been like super convincing to decide a true leader. So both teams are kind of like, okay, we can't really fuck up here. Even though SK know that they're probably stronger at this point, given the state of that last team fight, they know they're stronger, but they know that they can still get caught. Now, what Kog'Maw did there was kind of ballsy. That was ballsy. They're lucky that Sona went back. He was down all the way on bottom lane. No way to get to Baron. So had Sypher been like roaming around near their blue where SK has no vision, then they could have just dove in on Baron. But lucky for him, he's actually going to pick up a free Fiddlesticks kill. That's going to start the end. So now they get Sypher's red buff. Nice wall by Ocelote. That wall's starting to come into play. It's getting to the level where it's level 2, I think, at this point. So it's large enough to kind of seal off an area. So the ability to alter the terrain is really important, since the terrain is The terrain is so strong in League of Legends, and being able to alter it is even stronger. It's an amazing ability to have. I really think people should start putting Anivia into their builds more. You saw Dignitas show off their Trundle. Well, that pillar, same concept. Alters terrain, creates walls. I think Anivia is also just as strong. So SK have control of the jungle of Sypher now. So that is starting to lead them to grow an advantage. So they're going to take that, they're going to sit on it for a minute, and they're going to let it grow. You can already see they're another 1,000 gold ahead now. That's the first sign that Sypher's falling out of the game. Being able to steal their jungle like that really takes away from their economy and their buffs. So Sona having a flash there. Now they're starting to burn summoner abilities to stay alive. That's usually starting to spell the end for you. When you're having to use your summoner spells really defensively like this, when the other team is just kind of pushing on you, that's usually a sign that times are getting pretty rough. Now let's look at the items again, see how those are factoring in. You see only an Infinity Edge on Tristana. That's her only real item. Every other item is tier 1, except for those boots. That's horrible. Look at Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw's got his Bloodthirster. He's got his Zeal. He's got a magic cloak. So he's got a defensive item over him. His Zeal's already done. All because he cut that one Dorn's Blade and got his fast Bloodthirster, or his fast BF sword. You see Gangplank going for that Atmogs. It's almost done. Almost done with his Atmogs. Once he finishes that, he's going to be scary. Atmog's Gangplank is so strong. He can just run up and do whatever the hell he wants. Atmog's Gangplank just straight up scary. Straight up scary. Now Galio got the Aegis for his team. It's good. Just has Catalyst and Cloak right now. Probably going for Banshees. Anivia working towards that death cap. Almost has it. Morgana, not quite as close to it, but getting there. That's because she got those Doran's items. Once again, I might add. Doran's items slow your items down. You're seeing that right now. And then Sona going for that. Shirelia's. Nasus already has one. I don't know why they're going double Shirelia's. It's a little weird. Their team comp doesn't really dictate that they should need double Shirelia's. They're not a chase down team comp. Pardon me. So, items not looking so good for Sypher, and they are looking good for SK. Candy Panda getting a little caught there. This is the second time this game where he's been kind of pressured and he's had to use his exhaust out of a team fight. Now what the camera didn't see happen is that SK did get a go-ahead dragon kill. They went and took it for free. Sypher couldn't contest them at all, really. I see Ocelot getting caught out. Took Sypher a long time to kill him, though. You see a teleport in from Nasus. Okay. Okay, I don't like that. Hold on. Let's watch this play out a little bit. Do they get any kills out of this? I would hope they'd get a kill out of this. Did they kill? Okay, they kill Galio. Does anything else happen? Sona dies. Do they get more? Oh my god, they're gonna get more. Fiddle dies. Oh, this is bad for... Oh my god. Okay, I want to talk about this. Sypher done fucked up. Okay, so... Look what happens. Going over this, blah 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 blah, the Candy Panda, exhaust, whatever. So... They see Tarek sort of out of position. Not really. They just see him roaming, whatever. So there's 3 heroes top. They push in 4 mid. Look, they just catch Ocelot out, okay? But Nasus went back for some reason. I don't know why Nasus went back there. Nasus did not need to go back. Look, he's not even really finishing an important item. What does he finish? His Sheen? Oh, that went forward. Damn it all. Yeah, he goes back to buy a Sheen. They catch Ocelot out. But I don't know why Nasus went back. Nasus, when he sees this, he should stop. They should tell Nasus to push top. They should tell him push top right now. Because look what's happening. Look. Ocelote gets caught out, so the rest of SK is like, oh shit. So they go mid. Right? That's kind of what you have to do. You don't want to lose this mid tower. And Ocelote is probably yelling, guys, go mid. So they're going mid. Look. Gangplank. Kog'Maw, Tark, they all go mid. If Nasus stays top, well then it's 4v5 and it's 4v4 in the middle. Well, they can handle that. They can just sit here and handle that. Because if anybody goes up top to take on Nasus, well the only people who can do that are Gangplank and Kog'Maw. And if either one of those two important heroes goes top, well then they're just going to muscle through mid. But since Nasus goes back, this top lane's just open. Just open. I don't like that he teleports in there. Why do you need to be a part of that fight? You don't need to be here. You should have teleported back top if you really wanted your Sheen. You should have teleported top or teleported bottom. This is important. If you're 4-on-4 and you have something like blue buff Morgana, you can just sit here and pressure this tower and you will get the tower. You will get the tower. You're not in a position at all as Sypher to start picking up hero kills by being mid. This Nasus, whoever made this call, don't do that. So this is another call that's going to cost Sypher. They're still not out of the game. Still not out. Still within reasonable distance. They just caught a Nivea. They're fine. They just caught a Nivea. Take that. Go free farm bottom with Nasus. Or send... I wouldn't even send anybody else. I'd just tell Nasus to go shove top or bot. It just clears that. But now that Nasus comes mid, what the hell is Nasus going to do? He puts some pressure on Galio. These other 4 champions could have done that. It would have looked just like this. But now that Nasus is here, they get the tower. They would have gotten it anyway. They were never going to get this tier 2 tower out of it. So now they come in and they force this huge fight that they don't need to fight. They don't need to fight here. Look, Candy Panish is going to right click on some bitches. You're not going to run from Kog'Maw. So I don't like what they did there. They were going to get this tower. This tower was gone. With Anivia dead, that tower was dead. Especially handing over a blue buff to Morgana in the process. That was poor decision making by them. Are they going to lose even more people? So now SK is just going to push right up mid. They have 3 champions dead. Anivia's back up. So Anivia will be there in time too. And now SK just swapped positions on the map with him. Look, he's still picking up kills. Kog'Maw's, Jesus fucking Christ, this hero. I need to play Kog'Maw more. That's what needs to happen. This champion's beast. But bad use of teleport there by Sypher, and they lose an inhibitor tower for it. See, small mistakes like that. Where you need to think more about the entire map and not just about the champions, the map. Gotta be thinking about the map. See, look, now Creeper stacking up in these side lanes too, so that just adds even more pressure to Sypher. How are we going to pressure those side lanes? We have no middle inhibitor tower. If we go defend here, well they can just kind of cut us off here. If we go top to farm that and prevent that from pushing, well then bottom's open. Gangplank still has his ultimate. Galio's teleport's not down. So Sypher's like, oh shit, they know they're in trouble now. They know they're in trouble, so they're going to go try and force this Baron. And as you can see, doesn't work. Doesn't work at all. Just get destroyed. SKs, they've been capitalizing way too much on the mistakes of Sypher. SK hasn't played perfectly this game either, but Sypher have made 2 pretty big mistakes as far as letting the other team get a free advantage. They've made too many bad decisions in the last 10 minutes or so that have really cost them this game. So we're going to look at the items now. Again, Tristana Kog'Maw. I want to highlight this. Why are you doing this, Tristana? Sure, you can say Kog'Maw has all these kills, but look. Bloodthirster, fully stacked, has been for fucking ever. 7-0, right? He hasn't died, so his Bloodthirster it's still really strong. And he has his Phantom Dancer finished and a friggin' Frozen Mallet. So he's got 3 tier 3 items going for him. Tristana, one tier 3 item. That's it. No more inventory room for anything. And I have to start selling items after this because Doran's Blades make me rage. But look, just Zeal, Infinity Edge. Same items that she's had for like the last 10 minutes. Where are your items going? Kog'Maw is really healthy in items. That's like almost an unstoppable Kog'Maw. You can't stop him at this point. You can't stop him. It doesn't matter if they were the ones that were down 7 gold. If Kog'Maw still had those items, you're not stopping him. Bloodthirster, Phantom Dancer, and Frozen Mallet, you can't run from him. You can't catch him. He's sure as hell going to out DPS you. Don't like Tristana's item choices this game. Nasus, his items are kind of all over the place as well. Really late Sheen for a Nasus. Kind of baffled at that one. He did play really defensive when he didn't need to. They don't need a huge damage soak. In this team fight, I don't even really care about this. Sypher, look, the Fiddlesticks, his items are so behind now. He's so out of the game and has been for so long that he just does no damage. He jumped in there, used his ultimate, threw his bats around it, only bounced on champions. Everybody, look, nobody has any HP missing. Nobody's even at half. If you're at this point in the game and you Morgana ult and Fiddle ult and the other team doesn't drop below half, then you can quit while you're ahead because that's not even close to being useful. So Kog'Maw is just to the point where he's right-clicking on people. Snoopy is right-clicking on people. Now they're just going to kind of run in the base, and the game is over. So, a couple things we're going to pull from this. If you have bad matchups in a good lineup, then don't play those matchups. You saw SK had a really strong lineup that they like. Gangplank, Anivia, Galio. Really strong. Kog'Maw, Tark, that's a given. That's just your ranged AD and your Tark for your support. But ingenious throwing what they did with Kog'Maw. You have your wall and you have your Kog'Maw. Simple. Gangplank, Anivia. Really simple. It's just little small things that they're like, hey, look, all these heroes have these cool little combos that they kind of complement each other on. And they're like, okay, well, that's great. Well, how do we make it work? How do we make this work? This is a great combo. How do we make it work? They're like, okay, well, Anivia is kind of weak to some champions, so we have to have a plan to make sure that I don't get a bad matchup. How are we going to do that? And they're like, okay, so they see Morgana. Ocelote is probably like, I can't do that. What are we going to do? And they're like, I have an idea. Someone raised their hand. And they're like, what if we make you go against Nasus? How does that make you feel? And he's like, you know what? I like that. So they're like, what we're going to do, we're going to go top lane. Tark and I, right? We're going to go up there. So they're going to have to send Morgana up there because Nasus can't hold. How does that sound? Ocelote's eyes just got massive. He's like, you would do that for me? And they're like, we would. So they changed the lanes up to make their comp work for them. They're not going into the game thinking, well, here's a textbook on how to play. It says you have to do this, this, and this, and then if you it's just 1v1v1 and all these. No. They did what they had to do to make their comp work. Playing standard is good, the ranged ADs support bot by themselves. But if that's not gonna help you win the game, then why do it? So by changing the lanes up some, it also moves summoner spells around, and they saw that and they're like, hey, that makes us strong here. So let's make sure at some point we take advantage of that so that we have something that we know that will work to give us an advantage in the game if the game is like kind of stalled out and even. And they're like, okay, that works. So there's a great example there in that game by SK of how to manipulate lanes to either let your team comp that might not have a good laning phase get into the game but has a really strong end game, which their team comp does. And Nivea is super strong in almost all late game team comps. That W is, I can't even begin to explain how important that W is. It's like Trundle Pillar. It just completely changes terrain and allows you to do things that are not normally possible. So them finding a way to work an Anivia into a high level game like this was pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. And another thing I'd like to point out that Ocelot does that is kind of cool. I'll see if I can find an example of it. Maybe here. Does it happen here? Probably not. I don't think it happens there. No. But what Ocelot does is, as Anivia, what he'll do is he'll cast his E and then throw his ultimate down. So it gives him the option of when you throw your E out and then you put your ultimate down, what it does is it opens up the possibility of you not having to get stuck in casting animation with your ultimate and missing a chance to cast your E. I want to see an example of him doing it. Does he do it there? He'll probably do it here. Too much line of sight there. I want to find a good example of it. But it's just a cool little trick that he does. Where he'll throw out his E and then his ulti. So that while the projectile is mid-air, well, the projectile doesn't care. It doesn't take into effect the slow while it's casting. It only takes into effect the slow when it hits. So his line of thought is, well, if I cast my E, then I'm guaranteed to get my E off, and my ultimate has enough range. So if they're in range to E, I can ultimate, and this guarantees that it'll have the slow effect every time. Because sometimes when you ulti and then you E, they get caught on like the edge of the ulti, and then by the time the E hits them, the projectile's kind of slow, so the slow kind of wears off from the ulti, and it doesn't do the 3 times damage. So just something a little cool. It's just him playing the character a lot and kind of knowing the little ins and outs of it. Also them knowing that, you know, you can throw out a parlay with Gangplank and then combo it with Anivia's E to get the slow effect on it. So it's kind of like a cool little nuke for your gank so that the slows go on first. You throw out your burst damage and then you can stun. That's just kind of a cool little trick that they use. And then, once again, items. Don't like Tristana's items. Love Kog'Maw's items. That was a huge decider in this game too. Really big decider. And then the other big thing to note is fucking Nasus. I don't know why they picked Nasus. I really don't. Really don't know why they picked Nasus. Kind of disappointed at that. Love to see seen Kennen. Kennen would have changed this game. They probably could have won. But you can't go back and change what you did. And this is what they ended up getting, and they lost, and that's too bad. So, yeah. I might actually do another one of these today. So look later on tonight as well to see if another one goes up. I think I'll be doing another one. So also, if you have any comments, anything like that, if there's any game specific you want to see at a tournament that you saw recently, just leave a comment and I'll take a look at it and maybe I'll do that game. Probably will. If I get if I get enough requests or just any random requests at all that I see something interesting, I'll be more than happy to do it because I really like going over these games. Yeah. I'll also be getting a new microphone soon. I kind of don't like this one. It sounds like shit. So I apologize. Anyway, yeah. So that was SK versus Sypher from IEM New York.